when a young couple disappears without a trace. Their small southern town springs into action.
It was a very good relationship. Like, I've never seen any signs of anything other than, them two loving on each other.
So you're saying this odd for her behavior? I promise you, this is very odd.
The desperate search reveals shocking secrets lurking beneath a glowing facade.
They did argue quite often about other men and him with other girls.
He said, he's saying that this may not be his baby. And I was like, what?
I kind of figured, hey, this is probably him.
The suspect bolts and runs down to the lake.
I could tell how he was looking that, it was bad.
Killer? This could be the ass.
Everybody started crying, so I knew then something happened to her.
He stated that a dark cloud had came over him.
She had told him, the baby's here. Why are you doing this?
Even as being a prosecutor for many years, I was still shocked.
March 22nd, 2022. It's just before 9 p.m. in rural Forsyth, Georgia.
Forsyth is a small town about an hour south of Atlanta. It's a very warm and hospitable place, very family-oriented.
Like many Forsyth residents at this time of year, Willie and Latasha Proctor are at home enjoying March Madness.
Me and my wife was sitting, looking at a basketball game, and her phone rang. I look down at it, and I see it's Tori.
Oh, Tori's coming over.
Okay. Their 21-year-old daughter, Toriana, said she was coming over to spend the night.
Tori and her fiancé, Jadarius, had a 1-month-old baby girl at home.
From time to time, she would stay with her parents as she just adjusts to her new lifestyle.
So her parents expected Toriana and the baby home within about 30 minutes or so.
But when an hour passes with no sign of Toriana, her parents assume she changed her mind. That's when Latasha gets a call.
My phone rang. It was like 10, and I went to answer the phone.
Hey, Tori, you still coming? Phone went dead.
And then it just hung up. I was thinking her cell phone died or whatnot, so I tried to call her back, and it just kept ringing.
Still going to voicemail.
I'll try texting her.
I texted her a couple of times, didn't get no answer back. So my wife said, well, maybe when she get where she going, she probably call us back.
But another hour passes, and Toriana still hasn't shown up when Latasha receives a second call.
This time, the phone call is coming from Tori's fiance's mom.
Have you heard from Tori or Jadarius?
Jadarius' mother explains that her son dropped off their newborn baby at her home in Macon that evening, but she hasn't heard from him since.
She was like, the baby don't have any milk.
Okay, we'll be right there.
In that instant, I told my husband, we jumped up.
What's wrong?
I just had a bad feeling there, because I know Tori always prepared.
The middle child of 3 siblings, 21-year-old Toriana Proctor loved having family close by.
She was a daddy girl. Everywhere I went, she wanted to be with me. Even out when me and my son practicing football, she wanted to be right there.
Vivacious, outgoing, and smart, Toriana was known for her quick wit.
Just being around her, she's gonna crack a joke. She's gonna keep you laughing regardless of what's going on.
Her laugh was very contagious.
From a young age, Toriana was also a standout athlete.
She was great in softball. I used to have parents all the time come up to me and ask me, where did Tori get her training at? And I would tell them all the time, just me and her.
She was just that girl that took pride in herself and also wanted to bring some type of joy to anybody that she was around.
But nothing made Toriana happier than spending time with her high school sweetheart, Jadarius Quez Watts.
I grew up knowing Jadarius as well, as we like to call him, as Quez. He was very shy, but he was a very sweet person.
Honestly, it was like love at first sight with him. It was definitely like, that's my boo. And I loved it for her because I know she had a lot of love to give.
She loved herself some Jadarius. On the phone all time of night and first thing in the morning on the phone with him, you know, just that puppy love very much. So puppy love.
In the summer of 2021, Toriana and Jadarius found out they were pregnant with their baby girl.
He said, Dad, I got something to tell you. And she told me that she was pregnant, and I told her, I'm gonna be there for you. Whatever you need me to do, that's what I do.
She did everything the doctor told her to do. She started preparing for her, buying this, buying that. She always wanted to be prepared for whatever came.
She was very excited, and I knew she was gonna be the best mom.
With a baby on the way, the couple was ready to make one more big commitment. Later that year, Jadarius proposed.
She sent me a picture and said, I said yes. She was very happy.
That was one of the things that she always wanted, marriage, a family.
He expressed to me all the time, you know, how he felt about Tori. Trying to make sure that, you know, Tori is taken care of.
In February 2022, Toriana and Jadarius welcomed their daughter, Nalani.
Becoming parents was a huge adjustment for them, but it seemed like they were making it work and approaching things as a team.
They had big dreams. They was doing the best that they could to grow and figure love out.
But now Tori is missing, and her parents have just learned that baby Nalani was left with Jadarius' mother without any milk to drink.
We'll be right there. Come on, we gotta go.
Latasha and Willie are very concerned because they know that Tori would never do something so irresponsible. That leaves a lot of concern for her parents, so they decide to get in their car and drive 30 minutes to Macon to figure out exactly what's going on.
Thanks so much for coming. She's sleeping right now, but she'll be hungry when she wakes up.
Jadarius' mother tells the Proctors he dropped the baby off around 11 p.m.
She said he had stopped by the house for approximately 2 minutes and dropped the newborn baby off and told his mother that they were out of formula, and then he left.
He didn't give any indication of why he needed his mother to watch the baby or where he was going.
I'm talking with Jadarius' mom, and she's like, I don't know what's going on. Jadarius, he's not answering my phone call.
Tori's parents offer to take the baby back with them to Monroe County and get her some formula on the way.
Back in Forsyth, they do a drive-by by the couple's apartment.
The couple's car, a black sedan, is nowhere to be found.
We called 911 to do a wellness check and just see if they can try to get into the apartment.
Just before 2 a.m., Forsyth police officers meet the Proctors at the apartment complex.
We've been trying to get in touch with her. She had called us earlier and told us that she was on her way home. So she don't live here. Back and forth.
Tori's parents explained that the pressure of becoming new parents had been a lot for her and Jadarius.
Becoming a mom and actually birthing a child, it shifted her mindset. Like, it's not just me and what I can settle and deal with. I want the best for my child.
I didn't try to pry too much. I'm like, you're more than welcome. My house is always open to any of my children.
The parents tell the police that there is no sign of the car. They also inform them that neither of them have been answering their phones.
It's just not like her. Yeah.
Can police locate the missing couple before it's too late?
So then it really just kicked in. Hey, we gotta find her. Something really wrong.
Wait, they found them?
21-year-old Toriana Proctor had just started a family with her high school sweetheart turned fiancé, Jadarius Watts, in rural Forsyth, Georgia.
She definitely wanted a kid. She wanted a few of them. She definitely wanted to be married, and I was so happy. Like, she was happy.
But now, both Toriana and Jadarius are missing. And even though it's only been a few hours, her family has connected with Forsyth police, telling them something seems dreadfully wrong.
It's just not like her. Yeah.
Sharing their concerns, officers trek up to the second-floor apartment and knock on the door.
841 more. See if you have a 21 for this apartment.
Stand by.
They knocked on the door and said, nobody answering.
So you're saying this is odd for her behavior?
I promise you, this is very odd.
Me and my wife kept telling her, no, this is not like Tori. You know, if we calling her, she calling us right back.
However, Forsyth police tell Tori's parents there's nothing more they can do for now.
They told us by the fact that Tori was an adult, that adult can be missing. They was like, she old enough to be gone if she want to.
They tell the parents that they have to wait a full 24 hours before they can do a true missing persons investigation.
And it started drizzling, raining, and we have a 1-month-old baby in the car. Like, we got to get her home, get her out this weather.
Tori's parents return home, determined to continue the search on their own.
I really felt defeated. Like, what can I do? Who can I call?
Hey, have you seen or heard from Tori today?
The Proctors start calling family and friends.
Okay, well, give me a call if you hear from her.
Her mother had like a little bit of panic in her voice saying, Tori was supposed to come home last night. She didn't come home. Have you heard from her? Is she over there with you? I'm like, So that's when I just called out to work, called my supervisor, said, hey, my friend is missing. I'm just gonna go and try to help see what's going on.
I could hear my sister on the phone saying she can't find Tori. I got just like a little tightness in my chest. They said a little prayer.
It started getting daybreak. I told my wife then, I said, well, maybe we need to call the sheriff department.
At the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, we don't have a timeline. If you feel that a family member is in need of help, then we're gonna help right away.
At 8 a.m., Latasha calls the sheriff's office and explains that her daughter has been missing for nearly 12 hours.
Monroe County officers immediately respond to the Proctor's home to take a statement.
The Proctor family explained to me that their daughter had been missing since yesterday.
Most crimes aren't random, and with missing person cases, typically you start with the people closest to them and then work your way out. So at this point, the police decide that they need to learn everything they can about Tori and Jadarius' relationship.
Everything leading up until a couple months before the baby was born, they were okay. She talked to me. I know she wouldn't tell me everything, but she talked to me to let me, I guess to assure me that everything was okay.
However, as Toriana's due date drew nearer, she made a shocking confession.
She just cried, and she was like, Quez hit me.
After telling her parents she was on the way to their home, Toriana Proctor and her fiancé, Jadarius Watts, had been missing for nearly 12 hours.
In my mind, I was just more so of like, Lord, I know we gonna find her. She gonna be all right. But we was looking, we didn't find the car, we didn't find her, we didn't find him.
And in speaking with Toriana's parents, police are learning that her relationship with Jadarius wasn't as rosy as it looked on the outside.
She was at the end of her pregnancy. She was just crying. I'm like, Tori, what's going on? You okay? And she was like, Quez hit me.
Tori was the person like, what I say, I mean what I say. I'm serious. I stand on what I say. So an incident took place. It wasn't good, you know.
And so I was trying to talk to her. Please, Tori, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. And she just cried and just cried and just cried.
Tori's family admits they were surprised by the recent outbursts. They'd known Jadarius for years, and until recently had never seen this angry side of him.
He seemed like, a great guy. Matter of fact, his dad and I are classmates. I knew about them as being, religious people.
Regardless, Toriana's parents encouraged her to take a stand.
So I told her, I want you to get all your stuff and come on back home. And she was like, that's what I'm gonna do.
But Toriana couldn't stay away from Jadarius for long.
He called a couple days later or whatnot. They talked, they reconciled, she's back. So it was like a back and forth, back and forth. It was those instances when, he got mad, she got mad, but the next day, they're talking again, all, puppy love again.
After baby Nalani was born, the roller coaster relationship continued.
Jadarius admitted he was having a hard time with the baby. And he thought that maybe the baby wasn't his.
She said, he's saying that this may not be his baby. And I was like, what? I said, long y'all been together?
Tori was completely heartbroken by this. She insists that she had never given him any reason to believe that she had been unfaithful to him.
This is just something that came out the blue. The whole time that they've been, dealing with each other, this never been an issue.
On March 4th, Toriana became so fed up with the accusations that she decided to take Nalani and move back in with her parents.
She had brought all her clothes home. She had brought all the baby clothes home. She was like, Mom, I'm tired. She said, I'm done.
For 2 weeks, Tori welcomed the help of her parents and the familiarity of her family home, while maintaining a friendly co-parenting relationship with Jadarius.
I could tell she was happy again. She was herself again when she moved back home.
I didn't ask her too many questions because I didn't want her to feel like I was, just meddling in her business. I was happy that her and the baby were there. I knew where they was and I knew they were safe.
But just as things were calming down for Tori, she got a call from Jadarius that his mom was sick and he needed her support.
Jadarius called Tori and let her know that his mom had a stroke.
She said that Quez didn't want to be by himself. She wanted to stay, and console him.
With the baby in tow, Tori spent that night at Jadarius' mother's home in Macon.
His mother had to go to the hospital, so she just wanted to support him, so that's what she did.
The following morning, Jadarius accompanied Tori to her postpartum checkup back in Forsyth.
That next day, she said that he was taking her, to her doctor's appointment. She went to her checkup and she called FaceTime me on the way back. She was excited, she said they released her.
The parents were really hopeful that this would be a new start for them.
But then, 6 hours later, Toriana sent the text about staying at her parents' house that night.
Oh, Tori's coming over.
Okay.
And although they didn't think much of it at the time, they're now fearing the worst.
Monroe County investigators shared the family's concerns.
The police take descriptions of the couple as well as the car and issue a BOLO.
They also get permission to start tracking Tori's cell phone.
Emergency pings can be conducted at any time when an officer feels there's an exigent circumstance to conduct one.
And in conducting the ping on Toriana's phone, the investigators immediately hit pay dirt.
It was literally 3 to 4 minutes from her house. We had to immediately, take action.
Sheriff's deputies are trying to track down missing 21-year-old mother, Toriana Proctor. And they've just traced her cell phone to a location only 5 miles from home.
It was literally 3 to 4 minutes from her house.
It's kind of out in the county, rural area. You had cow pastures and ponds. We all started looking for that phone.
Made up of law enforcement and family, the search party strategically scans the area for any signs of what could have taken Tori off course so close to home.
I was at home with the baby and it's heart dropping, not knowing, if she's okay, not knowing if I would see her. A lot of thoughts ran through my head.
Just calling her name out, like, Lord, don't let me find her in the woods.
Then, just before noon, officers receive a call from dispatch.
This is Lieutenant Beck.
We were able to get a ping then for Mr. Watts' cell phone and also the vehicle.
Police receive a hit that the car is about 30 minutes away at a location called Lake Juliet.
It was in the parking lot of the boat landing.
The boat ramp in Monroe County was a pretty decent little ways away from where we were at the time.
We're on the way now. We got a line on him. Let's go.
Monroe County officers race to Lake Juliet.
They're really wondering how the couple could have ended up way out there and really concerned about what they're going to find when they pull up.
When I first pulled into the boat ramp, I immediately saw a black car down toward the end of the parking lot, down toward the water.
They see a young black man sitting in the driver's seat, but it's unclear if anyone else is around.
At that point, I kind of figured, hey, this is probably him. I couldn't really see inside the car. The windows were kind of dark. The car was dark. And as I was putting my car in the park to get out to look in the car, he got out of the driver's seat and began walking to the front of his car.
Jadarius Watts! Jadarius Watts, put your hands up!
He had his hands in his pockets, and so I asked him to take his hands out of his pockets. I kind of grabbed his jacket and I began to pat him down to make sure he didn't have any weapons on him.
Just then, another unit arrives for backup.
When I pulled up to the boat landing, they were outside of the car. They had the suspect outside speaking with them.
When Jadarius notices the other squad car, his demeanor suddenly changes from passive to panicked.
Once he saw them, he came out of his jacket, just flung around out of the jacket and took off running.
The suspect bolts and he runs to the dock, jumps in the water. We all go down to the dock. As he hits the water, he immediately turns around and asks for help because he cannot swim.
Help!
He is near drowning as the police are able to recover and pull him out of the water.
Come on, man, come on!
I got down on my hands and knees, put my right hand out, grabbed him, and picked him up and pulled him up out of the water. It's kind of like something you would see off TV, you know. When he got up out of the water, they placed him in handcuffs.
Listen, buddy. Listen. Here, roll over on your side.
We put you at notice to keep you from doing what you just did. I'll never forget, he just kept saying, hey, y'all put me down. Man, just take me out. Just put me down. Listen to me. All this ain't necessary, okay? You hear me?
They put me down.
I need to know where your girlfriend is. At this point, I'm thinking, hey, he's done something. You don't run for anything.
And finally, Jadarius reveals where they can find Toriana.
She in the car, just 59.
Monroe County Sheriff's deputies have just apprehended 22-year-old Jadarius Watts after his shocking leap into Lake Juliet.
It was just an escape route for him to try to get away from us as quick as possible.
He could not swim, so he started begging for help. They pulled him out, and we had that all on body cam.
Man, come on, you good, bro. All right, listen. Just calm down.
Police immediately asked Jadarius about his missing fiancée, Toriana Proctor.
I need to know where your girlfriend is.
I said, "Where's Tori? Where's your girlfriend? Where's your girlfriend?" And eventually he said, "She's in the back seat of the car."
She in the car, just 59. What's wrong with her? Kill her? Just 59, sir. Did you kill her? Just 59.
Sir, listen, buddy, we're trying to talk to you. Come on, bro.
3 of us around.
All right, come on, let's go. At that point, I ran to the vehicle. I located Miss Proctor there under a large comforter. She was laying down across the back seat.
You could tell that she was deceased at the time.
All right, put him in your car. Get this crime scene taken.
We kind of had all hands on deck at this point. So we taped the scene off there so they could get pictures and aerial views of that scene.
Jadarius Watts was taken into custody.
I'm just going to tell you something. You do got the right to remain silent. Anything you say could be used against you in court.
I said, "Hey, I need to read you your rights and talk to you a little bit because you are in handcuffs. And at this point, you are under arrest."
Meanwhile, Toriana's loved ones are still at the initial search site.
I guess the hardest part was that the family was actually able to hear my radio traffic.
Anthony, we found him.
For a family desperately wanting answers, the commotion on the police radio is impossible to ignore.
Wait, they found them? They had found the black car, which, at that moment we got excited, where they at, is they okay? And then at that next moment, we heard him say, Jadarius just jumped in the water.
Wait, what's going on? I kind of got silent because I'm like, why would he jump in the water? As if, he was hiding something.
They were asking for constant updates, what's happening, what's going on. So at that point, the scene became a little more hectic.
I'm not thinking she deceased. I'm just thinking she's in the car with him. Something, maybe she's in the car hurt.
I actually called Lieutenant Thompson on the phone and I was like, hey, I need an update on her status because I knew if it was one of my family members, I would want to know as soon as possible. I got to tell the family something.
I looked at him and I could tell how he was looking that, it was bad.
Once she had been located deceased in the back of the car, I portrayed that news.
I'm so sorry they found Tori deceased.
I just, that was the worst day of my life.
Everybody started crying. And then that's when we all went back to the house to inform her mother that he killed her.
My first instinct was Nalani. Her mom is gone. It was definitely a battle because my heart is conflicted between, losing my daughter and then the person that actually took her life was in our life for so long. Never in a million years would I have thought that he would do this to my baby. Never.
Back at the lake, officers searching the car learned Jadarius may have been planning to take his own life after taking Toriana's.
They find a handwritten letter inside the vehicle.
He had written a suicide letter stating that they had both done things wrong.
He said, I'm sorry it had to be like this, but sometimes things happen in life that shouldn't happen.
The letter made it seem like he wasn't really taking full ownership of what he'd done.
But why did he do it?
I just kind of asked him, what all had taken place and, if he was responsible for Tori's death. What'd you do to him?
That's when Jadarius makes a chilling admission. With the Monroe County Sheriff's Office have just arrested 22-year-old Jadarius Watts for the murder of his 21-year-old fiancée and mother of his child, Toriana Proctor.
What'd you do to him? Tell me. Can you take me to where it happened?
Yes.
Jadarius agrees to return to the scene of the crime, and on the way, he reveals more details about what happened.
They took Mr. Watts out to the scene where they had last heard Toriana's phone ping.
He told me they did argue quite often about other men and him with other girls, so there was definitely some jealousy and things of that nature going on in a relationship.
So everything happened in the car?
Yes.
He told me that they were going back to Tori's house and an argument ensued. He didn't remember the road name. He just remembered he pulled off a road.
We were able to draw the conclusion that that phone call that was made just after 9 p.m., I believe personally that was her calling for help. And he snatched the phone from her, threw it into the woods.
You think you threw it over here?
Yeah.
Where this pond is?
That's when we knew we were in the right area, and we continued the search and actually later on located the actual cell phone.
After Jadarius is taken to the sheriff's office, he changes into dry clothes and sits down to speak with homicide investigators.
You're not under influence any alcohol or drugs currently right now. If you are, you are. I mean, it's no big deal.
I tried to overdose
today. Feel okay now, though?
The investigators read Jadarius' rights, and at that point, he decides he's said enough.
All right. Having these rights in mind, you wish to talk to me?
I talked to my lawyer.
You want to talk to your lawyer? Okay. All right, buddy, we can't talk to you no more.
Regardless, Jadarius' previous confession permits officers to take him straight to jail.
Jadarius Watts was charged with murder, kidnapping, aggravated assault, and obstruction of an officer.
The following day, on what would have been Tori's 22nd birthday, her friends and family gather for a celebration of life.
The day she went missing was the day before her birthday. We actually got together on her birthday. We did a balloon release, did like a big, happy birthday, we miss you thing for her.
It's touched my heart. I know she touched a lot of people within the community. I'm always going to be grateful for my family and friends for being there with me on that day.
The loss is tough to process, but made easier by the fact that Tori's killer is behind bars.
We clearly had evidence of Mr. Watts being the person responsible.
There was really no reason for him to go to trial because he had admitted to the act and he was the only person with Toriana at the time.
However, Jadarius opts to take his chances in front of a jury.
Despite Jadarius' confession, he enters a plea of not guilty.
And on October 2nd, 2023, his trial begins in a Monroe County courtroom.
We were unclear what his defense was going to be. We thought that he may try to say that this was in the heat of the moment, which could lend him a voluntary manslaughter conviction instead of a murder conviction.
But everyone, including the prosecution, is surprised when Jadarius takes the stand.
His attorney asked what happened when he turned down Brownlee Road with Toriana and the baby, and Mr. Watts said, "I murdered her."
The guilt must have gotten to him because he completely flipped the script on his defense team and confessed to everything.
he continued to take the route that he had done what he had done and that she was not to blame for it.
Jadarius admits he had deep insecurities about his relationship with Tori.
His lawyer was asking, why did you do this? Oh, I didn't think the baby was mine. Oh, she was cheating. I'm just like, you knew the baby was yours. She did look like him.
But Jadarius couldn't let go of his suspicions, and it seemed the stress of having a baby turned his petty accusations into rage.
Their relationship appeared to be a great relationship from the outside, but pregnancy had seemed to change that for some reason. When she became pregnant with their child, he became extremely controlling and demanding on whether or not the child was his, even though he had no reason to believe that.
On the night of March 22nd, Jadarius and Toriana got into another argument about the paternity of the baby during their car ride to her parents' house.
The argument got so heated that Jadarius pulled over.
I don't think Toriana had any idea what was going to happen until the defendant turned down that road.
He stated that a dark cloud had came over him.
She realized something had gone terribly wrong, and it was at that point that she tried to call her mom for help.
Jadarius grabbed the phone from her, ending the call and hurling it into the darkness.
When Tori made an effort to get out of the car, he reached over and grabbed her, and at that point, he choked her to death.
It was hard hearing it. It was hard hearing that she had told him that, the baby's here. Why are you doing this? And it hurt me to hear that, knowing that that was my daughter's last word.
From there, Jadarius says he looked at Tori's lifeless body and panicked.
He admitted that he had gone to the apartment to get a comforter that he put over Toriana's body to conceal her body as he drove around Monroe County.
Jadarius dropped off baby Nalani at his mother's house in Macon before driving to Lake Juliet.
He just got overwhelmed, and that's when he decided to take off towards the lake.
But not before grabbing a late-night snack.
On the way from his mother's house to Lake Juliet, he actually made a quick pit stop at a Waffle House.
It's kind of shocking he even had an appetite after what he'd done.
The courtroom is stunned by the brutally honest testimony.
Even as being a prosecutor for many years, I was still shocked.
After a 2-day trial, it takes the jury less than an hour to return their verdict. Guilty on all charges.
He is sentenced to life without parole.
I wholeheartedly feel like he loved her. He still do. And I wholeheartedly feel like he's sorry. And it's just something that him and God got to work on. But I pray for him. I pray that people find forgiveness towards him.
We did get justice for her, even though that cannot bring her back or whatnot. But he would have to suffer the consequences of his actions, and that's what we wanted.
Toriana's parents have since adopted her daughter, and Nalani is now growing up surrounded by a large and loving family.
I'm happy she with us. I wouldn't want her to be no other place, but I'm also sad that my daughter don't get a chance to see the stuff that we see.
I just want to let anybody know who's watching this show that if you're going through anything that's similar to Toriana's story, to speak up, whether you tell a family member, a friend, call a counselor, anybody that you can get a hold of. Just don't let it be too late.
It's always a way that you can find peace again and get your life back. Show yourself grace. When it's time to drop somebody off, you drop them off and you don't look back.
She was a hard-working single mother, raising a teenager on her own.
Her son didn't want for anything.
She was extremely loving and protective.
Moms and their sons, it's that special connection.
And then she met the man who made their family complete.
She wanted someone there for her son.
He became a father figure.
They fell in love and got engaged.
Would you please marry me?
Yes.
But they would never marry.
Her throat was slashed.
Blood is all over the place.
She absolutely fought for her life.
Please sit down. Was it a robbery gone wrong?
You have a broken window.
It looked like a burglary.
Did she have a stalker?
Her tires had been slashed.
She would receive threatening text messages.
Someone was following her.
Or had she always known her killer's name?
The type of wounds she had were up close and personal.
If you are in a fight with someone, you're going to have some form of DNA underneath the fingernails.
She told us who did it.
October 14th, 2015. It's Wednesday afternoon in Hampton, Virginia, a hard-working city of 130,000, just across the water from the sprawling naval base of Norfolk and the bustling shipyards of Newport News.
Most all of the industry there is Navy, and people work at the naval shipyard. People help supply the naval shipyard. It's a very blue-collar area.
A lot of people migrate here. It's a good, wholesome place.
You have great school systems. It's a great place to raise a family.
At around 3:30 that afternoon, Angelina Williams' 16-year-old son returns home from school.
He's excited about a test he took that day.
He thought he had done really poorly on this test, but he actually got an A. And so he was really excited about his grade.
He couldn't wait for his mom to get home from work so he could tell her all about it.
But when he lets himself in the front door, he notices something unusual.
Mom? The door was unlocked.
Mom, you come home early?
He started looking for his mother, called out to her and didn't get any response.
Mom?
There was no sound in the house as well, so he went upstairs to look for his mom.
But just as he gets to the second floor, he stops.
Oh my God.
He saw a large amount of blood right at the top of the steps.
Nothing was more important to 46-year-old Angelina Williams than her son.
So how are things going with you and Christina? She was a single mother. She had raised her son on her own.
She was extremely loving and protective of her son.
Their relationship was very close. And you know how that go with moms and their sons. It's that special connection.
To support her son, Angelina worked long hours at a local warehouse store.
She worked there for over 15 years.
She loved that job. The job loved her.
She was known by many of the customers that frequented the place.
And her coworkers had become her extended family.
They build up this close-knit bond just based on a sense of pride, a sense of camaraderie. They got together on weekends, they had fun.
They talked about everything, their children, the different challenges that they had in life.
She did have a village, a collection of people that you can go to.
Thanks to that support and the steady income her job provided, Angelina was able to raise her son in a stable and secure environment.
She was able to save up enough money when her son was in maybe the 7th grade or so. They got a townhouse.
He didn't want for anything, but Angelina worked very hard to provide that life for him.
But there was still one thing missing.
She's been a single parent for a while, and it's just been her and her son.
Until, in 2013, Angelina met Willie Smith.
It was a big step in the right direction because she was checking so many different boxes of her life. She had job stability, her son was doing good in school. So everything just started to line up.
They ended up moving in together.
Would you please marry me?
Of course.
They were together for about a year before they were engaged to be married.
He became a father figure to her son.
Oh, Willie,
You like it?
it's beautiful.
The type of mother that she was, she wanted someone there for her son.
More importantly, Angelina finally had someone of her own.
This is someone that she wanted to spend the rest of her life with.
Now she has this opportunity to feel special.
Everything aligned, everything was looking promising.
But now, Angelina's son has come home to find the front door of the family's Hampton townhouse unlocked.
Mom, you come home early?
And blood at the top of the stairs.
Oh my God.
Just imagine riding the bus home from school, being in school all day, getting a good grade, having a good time, to coming home, and now your whole world is shaking up.
And it's about to get far, far worse.
He made his way to his mom's bedroom, and there he found her.
Her son found his mother in a pool of blood.
After years of raising her son alone, Angelina Williams had finally found a partner to make her family complete.
They were starting to build a life together.
They were engaged to be married.
Would you please marry me?
But now, Angelina's son has returned from school to find his mother lying in a pool of blood.
He was very distraught.
However, he is able to call 911.
The police eventually arrived.
But there's nothing they can do for Angelina.
She had been stabbed multiple times, and her throat was slashed.
Angelina was dead on the scene.
She deceased.
The news is more than her son can bear.
By the time the homicide detectives arrived on the scene, he had completely broken down.
Let us know what happened. While he was crying, medics were assisting me and calming him down.
Eventually, detectives decided to have him transported to the station so he could have more time to collect himself.
After seeing to Angelina's son, detectives turned their attention to the crime scene.
When I got to the top landing, I noticed a pool of blood. There was blood smears on the walls,
which suggests that there was some sort of struggle at the top of the steps.
But the struggle ended in the bedroom, where Angelina's son had found her body.
She was laying on her side with her left arm over her head.
Her stab wounds were in the upper area, like the neck, head area, which is a very vascular area, and so there would have been a whole lot of blood.
On her hands, she had very severe defensive wounds.
She was clearly fighting for her life.
Nearby, detectives find a knife that may have been used in the crime.
The top of the blade was missing. It had broken off.
Detectives also find a pair of box cutters.
One was open beside her, close proximity. Had a lot of blood on it.
It looked like the killer might have initially attacked Angelina with the knife. and when the knife broke, switched to the box cutter.
But who was behind the vicious attack?
We were thinking it might have been a burglary.
When detectives make their way downstairs, there are clear signs of forced entry. A broken window next to the front door.
So it appeared to me at that point that whoever entered this residence came through that window.
It seems that the intruder broke in, thought the house was empty, and he headed upstairs.
But there was someone home.
Angelina must have heard the glass break and started down the stairs to investigate, and then met the intruder at the stairs.
That's when the attack began. He chased her into the bedroom, where he ended up stabbing her.
Then, leaving Angelina bleeding in the bedroom, the intruder fled out the front door.
Which would explain why her son found it unlocked when he came home.
However, other details around the townhouse argue against a burglary scenario.
Nothing looked disturbed, out of place.
Angelina's purse is still there. Other valuables are still there.
It's possible the assailant, after surprising and killing Angelina, just took off without taking anything.
Or were detectives dealing with a targeted attack?
The type of injuries she had were personal, very direct towards her upper body.
The assailant was intent on killing her.
Hoping for more information, police canvassed the neighborhood. But neighbors have little to offer.
We'd like to ask you about your neighbors.
They didn't see anybody coming or going in the house. They don't really know anything.
Sorry, don't.
Angie got along with her about it.
She just didn't really seem to have any enemies.
Her and Willie are such nice people.
Willie?
Yeah, her fiance.
The fact that Angelina has a fiance raises a new possibility for detectives.
It could be a domestic violence situation.
Do you know if there was any trouble between the two of them?
Not that I'm aware of.
The neighbors all agreed that Angelina, Willie, and her son, they were all great neighbors.
Still, the detectives do wonder where Willie is now.
Do you know how to get a hold of Willie?
No, I don't.
Hoping Angelina's son will know how to reach him, the detectives head down to the station to speak with the teenager.
I know this is hard, but we need to get a little information and it might be helpful for us.
In the interview, it was clear that Angelina's son was still distraught over his mother's death.
He got hysterical a couple times, wanting to know what happened to his mother. How could this happen? It was a bad nightmare to him.
That doesn't make any sense.
He was unsure why Mom was home that early during the day. Normally she's at work.
She didn't tell you she was coming home early?
I was trying to get some information on anybody that he might suspect had issues with his mother.
And the teenager may have an answer. Angelina's former fiance.
Angelina's son said that her and Willie had broke up.
He had been kicked out of the house for about 2 months prior.
They argued, but...
He mentioned that there were arguments.
They ever did more than argue? Not really.
But he does say that some strange things had recently started happening.
His mom was concerned that someone was following her.
Her tires had been slashed a week or so before this homicide.
He wasn't sure if it was somebody in the neighborhood or somebody from work.
She got concerned that somebody else might have been coming around, maybe stalking her, watching her from a distance.
When detectives investigating the murder of Angelina Williams interview her 16-year-old son, he tells them that his mother may have had a stalker.
Her son said that not long ago, someone had slashed his mother's tires.
She was nervous, she was scared, she wasn't sure if somebody was following her.
And whoever it was knew where she lived.
It happened to her at home before she left for work.
She walked out that morning and her tires were flat.
She had no knowledge of who might have done it.
As far as her son knew, she did not report it to police.
However, the possibility that someone was stalking Angelina could explain how the murder occurred.
We believe that someone had been watching her and following her and was aware of her comings and her goings.
So the stalker would have known she was home alone and vulnerable.
But that still didn't explain why Angelina left work early that afternoon.
She normally got off of work at 4.
Mom, you come home early?
Her son had no idea why she had come home before him.
You didn't know she was coming home early?
Normally she's at work until after he gets home from school. So the detectives then went to Angie's job to try to figure out why she was home early.
At the warehouse store, Angelina's manager is stunned by the news that she's dead.
She's been killed?
She'd been an employee there for a number of years.
The manager also reveals why Angelina had gone home early that day.
Angelina had clocked out at 11 a.m. because she just wasn't feeling good.
But was she being followed? When the detectives checked the store's security footage, the results are inconclusive.
They did see her get in the car and proceed out the parking lot.
Angelina wasn't approached by anyone and she just pulled off.
But several cars did leave the parking lot around the same time she did.
With Angelina's job being such a busy place, it was very hard for them to determine if someone had followed her.
However, Angelina's manager is certain that whoever killed her wasn't someone from work.
Her manager said that everybody there loved her, and she had this bubbly, overflowing personality.
Several employees for a very long time, good friends of hers.
They all cared about each other. They all loved each other. So they loved her as if that was their family member.
But could Angelina's manager reveal who was behind the attack?
You know, I was afraid this would happen.
And why's that?
We did find out from her coworkers that during conversations with Angelina, she was concerned about Willie.
Especially after he slashed her tires.
Willie did that?
Well, she wasn't sure, but we think so.
Instinctively, she thought immediately it was Willie. And so she shared that information with her colleagues.
According to her manager, Angelina's relationship with Willie had quickly turned contentious.
When he moved into her home, I think she began to see a little more of who he really was. He would be out all night. And so he was someone who would spend the night all night out of the house. And of course, wet women would want that. And so that would absolutely cause conflict and friction.
Where have you been?
Oh, none of your business. When confronted about the excessive drinking and confronted about the all-night partying or whatever he was doing, he became abusive.
Just got here. I don't want to hear all that.
You know what? You do the dumbest stuff.
After this, she kicked him out of the residence.
I'm running your mouth all the time.
But he didn't stay gone.
When she kicked him out the house, the first time, he tried to romance her back and said that he would change. And so her being in love with him, she did. After 2 weeks, she gave him another chance and she allowed him to come back into the home.
According to her manager, Angelina soon regretted her decision.
He did not change. He was still that same mean-spirited person. And so she asked him to leave yet again, and he did.
It wasn't long after that someone slashed her tires.
Willie had also sent Angelina a series of angry texts.
What did they say?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
She did not go into details about the text messages, but she shared with them that he had texted her.
But according to what Angelina did tell her, whatever was in the text could not have been good.
She also shared with them that if anything happened to me, make sure you let the authorities know that Willie did it.
Okay. Thank you for your time, ma'am.
Hoping to find out what Willie had said to scare Angelina so much, detectives return to the station and subpoena her phone records.
The text messages are a very important piece of evidence here because these are statements specifically from the suspect.
Then, while waiting to hear back from Angelina's cell phone provider, detectives pull Willie's rap sheet.
What they discovered was alarming to them.
He had a violent past towards females.
He had served time in prison for shooting a woman.
Investigating the murder of Angelina Williams have learned that her ex-fiancé, Willie Smith, had done time for shooting a woman.
This was alarming to the detectives.
The charges stemmed from an incident that had happened 10 years earlier.
He and his wife at that time were in a domestic dispute.
He asked her to meet him at his relative's home in reference to giving her money for some type of business transaction. When she arrived at his aunt and uncle's home, he literally came out the house and he started shooting her in front of everyone in broad daylight. As he was shooting her, the uncle ran up to him trying to stop him. Willie Smith grabbed his uncle and threw him into a tree. His aunt then came out and she pleaded with him, and somehow they were able to get his wife into the house where she passed out. She woke up in a hospital.
By then, Willie was in jail. But his wife refused to cooperate with the prosecution.
Even though he was an extremely violent husband, she was of the mindset that she did not want her children to grow up without a father.
Prosecutors in a case like this are often hamstrung by the victim's willingness to testify.
Without his wife's cooperation, prosecutors were forced to cut a deal with Willie.
The only thing they could do to salvage the case was to plead the case down.
He pled guilty to malicious wounding.
Malicious wounding is a general intent crime. So I only have to show that that person assaulted someone, and as a result of that assault, that person suffered some type of wound.
He was sentenced to 6 years.
He was released in 2013.
Shortly after, he met Angie and began to start a life with her.
Willie's violent record convinces detectives they're on the right track. But it's not enough to charge him with murder.
It's a very circumstantial case because we didn't have any videos to show him walking in the door, walking out of the door. No eyewitnesses to tell us, hey, I saw him do this.
However, the record search did give them the grounds to bring him in.
Come to find out that he had an outstanding failure to appear warrant from York County.
Detectives also hope that forensics will give them more evidence to tie Willie to the murder.
When we did the autopsy, they clipped her nails, and when they clipped her nails, they sent it to the lab.
They hope to find Willie's DNA under her fingernails.
If you are in a fight with someone, and even if you have small fingernails, but you scratch that person and you are able to somehow get skin, you're going to have some form of DNA underneath those nails.
The autopsy also reveals the vicious nature of the crime.
The autopsy confirmed that she had at least 19 stab wounds.
She had a lot of defensive wounds on her body from the attack.
When they did the initial x-rays of her body, they located a broken off knife blade in her upper chest area.
She was stabbed with such force that the handle of the knife came off and was lodged in her.
The medical examiner was able to remove it and was able to match it with the knife that was found at the scene.
This was a crime of passion. It was very, very brutal.
Now all the detectives have to do is bring the man they believe responsible to justice.
While waiting for the DNA results from the autopsy, the detectives focus on finding Willie.
With the help of cell phone technology, detectives are hot on Willie's trail.
We did what they call a GPS coordinate with the phone company, and we were able to get indications that the phone was active.
Detectives head to the coordinates the phone company provides and locate Willie's vehicle.
It was parked behind a church, and this church was approximately a block away from where his mother actually lived.
When they approach, they find a man asleep in the driver's seat.
We woke him up and took him into custody.
He did have an outstanding warrant, so they were able to arrest him based on that warrant.
But when detectives get Willie into the interrogation room, he refuses to talk.
He said, "I'm not saying anything until my lawyer's standing in front of me."
No, still about anything?
Even though he had invoked his right to remain silent, Willie had plenty to tell detectives.
There was a cut on his forearm.
He clearly had been in a fight.
When detectives investigating Angelina Williams' murder finally sit down with her former fiance, Willie Smith, they're all but certain they found her killer.
The detectives noticed that he had a cut on his arm.
Don't worry about that. I got that from you guys arresting me.
He said it happened when we were putting the handcuffs on him. What was interesting with that was the handcuffs go down by the hand and the wrist. These marks were further up between the wrist and the elbow, so they looked like they were actually nail scratches.
We know that there was some type of physical altercation. How we know that is because she had defensive wounds on her body.
We'll get you a lawyer if you don't want to talk to us, but we're going to get DNA first.
Hoping to confirm that Angelina made the scratches on Willie's arm, the detectives obtain a sample of his DNA to compare with the samples the medical examiner took from under her fingernails.
Because there were fresh scratch wounds on the forearms of Willie Smith, we know that there was probably tissue and probably blood that was underneath the fingernails of Angelina. And so as a result of that, DNA will absolutely be present.
When they're finished with Willie, the detectives obtain a warrant to search Willie's mother's house.
That's where he's been staying, and detectives went out there to search for possibly any bloody clothes, any weapons.
They particularly wanted to be able to see whether this knife that was collected at the scene would have come potentially from the home.
The police don't find any bloody clothes.
However, in the kitchen, they did find a knife block.
Every knife was there except one.
But detectives believe they know where it is.
The knives were a match to the broken knife detectives had recovered from the crime scene, and the knife blade recovered during Angelina's autopsy.
They were all from the same manufacturer.
It gave us a huge piece of evidence because we were able to match that blade with the weapon that we believe was used to kill her. And that weapon was ultimately confirmed to be from the knife block that we retrieved from his mother's home.
As damning as the knife evidence is, the case against Willie gets even stronger when the detectives receive Angelina's phone records.
Going through text messages, they revealed that Willie did text her in about October saying that he wanted to meet up, he wanted to talk.
Angie refused, so Willie had turned on the charm.
Yet again, he was trying to convince Angelina that, hey, I've changed. I want to be the man that you want me to be.
But Angie wasn't going to fall for that a second time.
Angie replied to him, I don't want to put myself through this again. We can be friends, but that's pretty much as far as we can go.
That's when Willie's texts turned more desperate.
He wasn't able to sleep, he wasn't able to eat. And this is a control tactic that most abusers use. He wanted Angie to see him in a state of desperation, so that way she'll be more easy and open to accepting his invitation.
It didn't work.
Angie stood her ground, was not interested in going beyond just friends.
Soon after that, he'd started stalking her.
When the tires got slashed, she told him that she was going to call the police.
And he told her, if you call the police, there are going to be consequences to that.
And then Angelina threatened to do something even worse than calling the police.
She said that she was going to call his mother.
He pleaded with her, hey, please don't tell my mom, she'll kick me out.
Angelina responded to Willie with one final text message.
Angie replied, I'm scared of you, Will.
Angelina must have been terrified. She had to have an inclination that he may have been capable of doing something to her. Otherwise, she wouldn't have said, I'm scared of you.
Detectives suspect Angelina was right to be afraid of Willie. Because when the detectives get the results of the DNA testing back, they have definitive proof of her killer's identity.
She told us who did it.
Willie's DNA was, in fact, under her nails.
That directly places Willie at the crime scene.
Forensics testing finds Willie Smith's DNA under Angelina Williams' fingernails. Detectives believe they have definitive proof that the 49-year-old killed his former fiancée.
We were able to place Willie Smith at this crime scene based upon DNA evidence.
She had not been with him for 2 months. There would no longer be DNA under fingernails for any other purpose.
She absolutely fought for her life.
It's enough for the police and prosecutors to finally charge Willie, who was already in jail on an outstanding warrant.
We got the warrants for first-degree murder and breaking and entering with the intent to commit murder.
When Willie goes on trial on October 7th, 2019, Angelina's friends and family fill the courtroom.
Her brother, her family members, her mom, her dad, they were all there. Her colleagues, her co-workers, they showed up.
The community was very upset. They wanted to pay their respects, kind of wrap their arms around her son and, make sure that her son knows that she was loved.
In contrast, Willie's side of the courtroom is all but empty.
Not one person showed up with the exception of his mom. She came for a few minutes and then she eventually left. So his family knows that he is a very brutal, malicious person.
Willie's brutal nature is also the focus of the prosecution's opening statement.
This was a typical domestic violence motive. What the prosecutors believe happened was that Willie Smith committed the murder out of anger, vengeance, out of jealousy.
We believe that he was following her and that he was tracking her and that he was actually stalking her because on that particular day, she came home early. She wasn't feeling well. We believe that she got into the bed to lie down.
According to the prosecutors, Willie had broken in soon after.
We believe he entered into the home through a window pane that was broken out.
Inside, he'd made his way to the second floor, armed with the knife from his mother's kitchen.
It is clear what his intentions were that day. He was there to kill her.
Once he got upstairs, there was Angelina.
What I believe occurred is he initially encountered her and surprised her.
And that's when he attacked her with the knife.
Angelina tried to flee away from Willie. He chased her into the bedroom.
Once inside, the vicious attack continued.
We do know that at certain points during the encounter, she was able to fight back, and she left some marks on his body, but he was still able to overpower her.
He ended up stabbing her 19 times.
He had stabbed her with such a level of force that the blade had broken.
All those things point to a very specific targeted anger.
And according to the prosecution, all the evidence points to Willie as Angelina's killer.
They had the text messages subpoenaed from Angelina's cell phone.
The knife blade left broken in her body was a match for the set in his mother's house.
Most of all, the crime lab had found Willie's DNA under her fingernails.
That was the crux of this case. The DNA from the nail clippings.
When it's the defense's turn, they do their best to raise reasonable doubt.
There was some unknown DNA that was found at the scene.
We don't know who that DNA belongs to, but the fact is that by finding someone else's DNA there in the house, that is an opportunity for the defense to latch on and argue, well, then someone else committed this offense.
Will it be enough to sway the jury? It takes only an hour for them to decide.
They found him guilty of both first-degree murder and breaking and entering with the intent to commit murder.
That unknown DNA was irrelevant.
That could have been a maintenance worker, it could have been a friend of hers, it could have been literally anybody. The most important DNA, though, is under the fingernails.
The DNA that was consistent with the crime and consistent with how Angelina died, all of that DNA pointed to Willie Smith.
The twin verdicts earn Willie 2 life sentences.
He got life for the murder. It was first-degree murder in Virginia. The maximum penalty for first-degree murder is life. He got life for the breaking and entering a residency with a weapon, which is a life penalty maximum. So he got 2 life terms.
But no amount of punishment can make up for the loss of Angelina.
It still was a tough pill to swallow for members of the community, her co-workers, being that she was so loving and nurturing and friendly.
Angelina should be remembered as a great mom, a great attribute to society, her co-workers, her neighborhood.
And even though she is no longer here, her legacy remains very much alive.
Angelina's son is thriving in college, and he has shown such courage and resiliency despite having to find his mom in the condition in which he found her. And so it's my hope and my prayer that he continues to do well in life.
Doing everything she could.
As a single parent, you kind of rise to the occasion.
She was someone who was willing to put in that work.
She was determined to succeed.
All she needed was the right person by her side.
This is a man who's mature.
He had his own business.
He was someone that she could build a relationship with.
Until it all came undone.
The victim suffered a gunshot wound to the head.
We usually call that an execution style.
It's a very violent individual who did it.
Can the police find her killer?
There are so many frustrations.
Your chances get slimmer each passing hour.
If you don't have any evidence, then there's nowhere to go.
Or are they in for a long, cold wait?
You never know where that next piece of evidence can come from.
Lives change when guilt kicks in.
All those years, you could have picked up the phone.
July 15th, 2006. It's early Saturday morning in Long Beach, California, an oceanfront city of almost 500,000.
Long Beach is the best of both worlds because it's got that city vibe, but then it's got some really nice beach areas and restaurants and some great tourist spots.
It also has some spots that aren't on any tourist's itinerary.
You've got a lot of industrial area around there, but it's got this character of blue-collar, working class.
You have this underbelly, you have all these socio-economic issues.
There is a, we'll say, seedy side with gangs and drugs and violence.
And as the sun comes up that morning, it shines a harsh light on Long Beach's unsavory side.
Are you okay?
The person that was jogging outside had noticed a woman's body on the ground.
But when he moves closer, the man realizes the woman isn't okay.
Oh, God. The victim suffered a gunshot wound to the head.
The man who found her called 911. And when first responders arrived on the scene, they confirmed that she was dead.
But it's not until homicide detectives arrive on the scene that police are able to determine the dead woman's name.
She didn't have her ID on her.
We checked the missing persons cases.
And they find one in the vicinity that has just been reported.
The missing persons report matches the physical description of their victim.
The missing woman is 20-year-old Tyquisha Myers. Tyquisha Myers had grown up in Las Vegas, surrounded by a loving family.
She was very trusting. She seemed like she was always looking out for the best in people.
However, her life wasn't without challenges.
Tyquisha got pregnant at 14.
The child's father wasn't in the picture, but still, Tyquisha wanted to have the baby.
Being 14 and having a newborn baby and being a single parent, all of those were the odds kind of stacked up against her. You're focused on just trying to build friendships, build connection, learn who you are. And now you're thrust into parenthood to now begin to turn your focus onto this child. And not really knowing how to parent because she was just a child herself. That was a very challenging time for her.
But Tyquisha rose to the challenge by throwing herself fully into motherhood.
She was determined to do better and not just succumb to what she was experiencing. Because as a single parent, you kind of rise to the occasion and try to learn and do all the things so that you can succeed.
But there was still something missing.
She wanted a father figure in her son's life, someone to make their family complete.
And when her son was 6 years old, she found him, a man named Carl Mays.
Carl wished her off her feet.
The relationship moved fast.
Because it had to.
Well, I'm only going to be in town for a couple more days.
Really? Carl was only in Las Vegas for fun. He lived in Long Beach.
Got a shop out there, barber shop.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
This is a man who's mature, who's situated and has some type of foundation, who has his own business.
The Black Barbershop is a huge part of the community. You can pretty much feel the pulse of the community, and usually the head barber knows everybody or everything about what's going on.
Carl also represented a huge opportunity for Tyquisha.
He was someone that she could build a relationship with and provide a father figure for her son. So it's like a lot of hopes and dreams that she kind of all had bottled up into this package called Carl.
Maybe I can come to Long Beach and visit you sometime?
Oh, I'd like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Tyquisha made several trips to see Carl in California.
That really excited her of the possibility for what she and her son could experience in moving here to Long Beach.
We're right by the ocean. We're chilling, we're vibing.
And by the beginning of 2006, Tyquisha had made California her home.
Carl asked Tyquisha to marry him, and she said yes.
It's just like, yes, let's jump into it. She's lived with her parents for such a long time. So now she's just wanting to break free and just make her own decisions, choose whatever it is that she wants to choose and have this freedom.
She was someone with so much future ahead of her.
But now it appears that Tyquisha will never have the opportunity to embrace that future.
Police get a radio call of someone reporting that the person was lying injured on the trail from a single gunshot wound.
The detectives respond to the crime scene, and then a crime scene is established where the victim or where the body was found.
The yellow tape goes up. No one's allowed to come close so that the forensic technicians can start taking pictures.
Tyquisha had been reported missing the day before by her husband. But does that mean he's off the hook?
You have a female that's murdered and dumped on the side of the freeway.
A gunshot wound to the head means it's personal.
We were all saying it's a really angry spouse that might have done it.
Las Vegas native Tyquisha Myers was ready to start a new chapter in her life.
She's lived with her parents for such a long time. She's wanting to venture out and start her own family.
She and her 6-year-old son were in the process of moving to Long Beach, California.
But she wouldn't be in Long Beach alone. Just a few months earlier, she'd met and married 28-year-old Carl Mays.
Carl ran his own barbershop in Long Beach.
Seeing this as an opportunity to just have this love and acceptance and have the support of a male figure who is mature, who is established, who has a job, and who seems to be self-sufficient.
Only now, Tyquisha's new beginning has come to a violent end.
Soon after Carl reported her missing, Tyquisha was found alongside a bike path, dead from a single gunshot wound to the head.
When you have a gunshot wound to the head, usually we call that an execution-style murder.
Somebody was pissed off, or it's a very violent individual who did it.
But who was it that pulled the trigger?
Based on how this crime occurred, just the nature of it, you're gonna look for that maybe heat of passion suspect.
Leaving CSI and the coroner's team to finish processing the scene and remove the body for autopsy, the detectives decide it's time they talk to Tyquisha's husband, Carl.
The husband, the boyfriend, they're the first people you go to. Could it have been somebody else? Absolutely. But that's the first place you look.
From the scene, the detectives drive straight to Carl's barbershop.
Carl had provided his address to police when he filed the missing persons report.
May I help you?
Yes. We're looking for Carl Mays.
Yes. Y'all find Tyquisha?
I'm afraid so.
Carl appears stunned by the news that Tyquisha is dead.
I can't believe it. I mean, I was worried, but just never imagined something like this.
Sir, when's the last time you saw your wife?
Yesterday before she went out of town.
Carl explained that Tyquisha had been splitting her time between Long Beach and with her family in Vegas.
Why is that?
We're just working on some things.
What kind of things?
Married life, mostly.
After living her entire life at home, he says Tyquisha was having a hard time adjusting.
What to expect, what's expected of her, what to expect of others, all of that is something new that she possibly wasn't aware of because she was just 20 years old.
Carl said that Tyquisha had left her son with family in Vegas to come to Long Beach so that they could talk things over.
And she had dropped by the shop on her way back to Vegas.
Carl said she wanted some money that he owed her.
Did you give her the money?
Yeah, then she left. That was the last time I saw her.
Carl says he'd assumed Tyquisha had gone back to Las Vegas until he got a frantic call from her mother.
Her mama hadn't even heard from her, and nobody knew where she was, and it just didn't make any sense. So that's why I called the police.
To the detectives, Carl seems genuine, but they still need to rule him out.
Sir, do you own a gun?
No, I don't.
Do you mind if we look around a little bit?
Yeah, sure, whatever you need that helps.
He seemed more than willing to cooperate with the investigation.
With Carl's permission, detectives searched the shop, including the back room.
There's no evidence of a gun.
But they do find something interesting.
This yours?
Yeah.
There's blood on it.
He said that the blood was there because he cut himself while he was working.
It seems plausible, but detectives want to make sure.
You mind if we take it with us?
And we'd like to run some tests.
Yeah, sure.
I'll bag it and take it to the cruiser.
Then, after talking to Carl, detectives talk to the other barber who works in the shop, a man named Harris Finley.
They start by asking him about Carl and Tyquisha's relationship.
When I think of a barber in a community like Long Beach, I think about a place where people are gonna talk about their lives and talk about their stories. Maybe there's a lot of joking, but maybe there's a lot of complaining.
Their instincts are right. Carl had told Harris a lot about his marriage.
He said they hit a rough patch, but they're putting things back together.
Did he say what the problem was?
Mostly that they got married too fast.
Harris also tells them he was at the barber shop when Tyquisha came by to see Carl.
Do you know what it was about?
I think she wanted some money.
He said they went in the back and talked a while. And when they came out, Carl handed Tyquisha some cash.
Tell me when you get to Vegas.
Oh. He said she was only here for a few moments and she left, which backed up what Carl was sharing.
As a general rule, that's good evidence to rule that person out as a suspect.
The investigators were back at square one.
Detectives investigating Tyquisha Myers' murder have all but ruled out her husband, Carl Mays.
When they interviewed the barber that worked in the shop with Carl, he backed up what Carl was sharing.
So he gave her the money and she left.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what Carl had told them in his statement.
But the next morning, when detectives received the results of the autopsy, the findings indicate that the murder must have occurred soon after she left the shop.
The medical examiner places Tyquisha's time of death on the afternoon of the 14th.
To determine where she'd gone after she left the barber shop, the detectives subpoena Tyquisha's phone records.
Phone evidence, and it's probably a lot better now, but in 2006, you could actually track someone by their phone.
Then, while waiting for Tyquisha's cell provider to respond to the subpoena, detectives reach out to her family in Las Vegas.
When they do, they learn that Tyquisha's mother is already in Long Beach.
After informing Tyquisha's mother that her daughter is dead, they arrange for her to come into the station and give them a statement.
First off, I want to say sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Assume you drove in from Las Vegas as soon as you realized she was missing.
No, I was already in town.
Tyquisha's mom said she and Tyquisha had been in the area for a few days prior to her disappearance.
She came back to attend a friend's funeral, but she still had issues with Carl that she had to settle.
What sort of issues?
Well, I think he owed her money.
Her statement echoes Carl's. However, Tyquisha's mom does add some new information about the day her daughter disappeared.
Tyquisha's mom dropped her off at the barbershop.
And she left with you?
No. She said she didn't know how long she would be.
She stated that Tyquisha was planning to see another friend in Long Beach after she left Carl's.
She said she would either get a ride with them or Carl would take her.
That was the last time she heard from her daughter.
Tyquisha's mother says she first realized something was wrong when Tyquisha wouldn't answer her phone.
I can just imagine trying to call and do all the checking to see what happened to her and not able to find her.
Tyquisha never answered. But the following morning, she'd gotten a hold of Carl.
She's not answering the phone?
No.
Okay, I can call the police.
To be honest, I was surprised that Carl offered.
Why is that?
Tyquisha and Carl were in this relationship where it didn't seem like it was going very well. They had some personal disputes.
Carl mentioned their issues when detectives spoke with him. But according to Tyquisha's mother, he hadn't told them the whole story.
The first time she came home after the wedding, I could tell there was trouble.
Her family says that she would show up with a lot of bruises.
They knew something was happening.
The mother wanted to put a stop to the relationship immediately.
But she says that Tyquisha denied the abuse, at least initially.
She said she fell or something. She always had an excuse.
It can be very hard for victims of domestic violence to come forth and be honest about what's happening to them. There can be a lot of embarrassment.
Eventually, Tyquisha had finally opened up and admitted the truth.
Tyquisha told her mother that Carl would sometimes lose his temper and get violent with her.
And Tyquisha's family finally convinced her to break things off, at least temporarily.
Tyquisha made the decision, from the support of her family and friends, to be able to put a pause on that relationship because she knew she deserved better.
She took her son and moved back to Las Vegas.
She made up her mind she was never going back to him.
So why'd she come back to see him then?
She just wanted the money he owed her.
She said that was supposed to be Tyquisha's last contact with Carl.
Had that final meetup cost Tyquisha her life? Or are the detectives missing something?
All you kind of have is Tyquisha's mother's word versus Carl's word.
He said she left.
And the other barber corroborated his story.
They're lying, both of them.
And according to Tyquisha's mom, she has proof.
She said that she was gonna give this to him, but she decided not to.
She had left a letter behind.
The note kind of details how hard life has been for her ever since she met Maeve. One particular part details how it was a very controlling relationship.
But that wasn't all she said.
She actually indicated that she did not want to be around him and that she was happy to leave him.
She felt like she needed to escape.
The last thing that she wrote was that I was scared for my life.
Investigating the murder of Tyquisha Myers have learned that she recently left her husband, Carl Mays, over emotional and physical abuse.
It's all detailed in a letter that Tyquisha's mother provided to detectives.
That note is a huge piece of evidence to paint a picture of their relationship.
And the last line of the letter all but names Carl as her killer.
Tyquisha closed the letter by stating, "I was scared for my life."
As an investigator, it really focuses your efforts into closing in on this person.
However, there's something standing between the detectives and an arrest. Carl's fellow barber, Harris Finley.
Harris told detectives that he was in the barbershop when Tyquisha dropped by.
He says that Carl gave her the money he owed her, and she left.
But now that they've read the letter she wrote, detectives aren't so sure.
Harris may have had reason to lie, too.
Carl was his employer, and so the reality is you're not going to mess up the way that you feed yourself or feed your family.
Harris could even be protecting himself.
If Carl had killed Tyquisha, maybe Harris helped get rid of the body.
There's suspicion of Carl mounting. Detectives do a little digging on Tyquisha's husband.
They're looking for previous crimes, any other history of domestic violence, restraining orders, things like that.
There's nothing in Carl's record as far as domestic violence or restraining order. But the search does reveal something.
The year before, he was arrested for having a loaded firearm on his possession in public.
Tyquisha died from a single gunshot wound to the head.
But while the weapons charge raises detective suspicions, it's a long way from a murder charge.
The weapons charge only proved that he used to own a gun, not that he had one now. And the search of the barbershop hadn't produced any evidence of a gun either.
However, the detectives hope that one piece of evidence from the barbershop could be the breakthrough they need.
The investigators found a blanket that had blood on it.
At the time, Carl said the blood was his, but the detectives wanted to be sure.
They took it in for DNA.
The test results proved disappointing.
It came back as unconclusive.
Back in 2006, the technology just wasn't as refined as it is now.
But when detectives received Tyquisha's phone records, they further suggest that the murder did occur in the barbershop.
Cell phone records showed that was her last known location.
After that, there was no activity on Tyquisha's phone.
But the phone records alone aren't enough for an arrest.
There are so many frustrations because in your mind, you know that this is the person that most likely did this, but because of the lack of evidence, it's not a fileable case.
What detectives need is a confession.
The detectives brought Carl back in for questioning and confronted him with what Tyquisha's family said about the alleged abuse.
Any truth to that?
I mean, we could argue some, but no violence? I mean, some pushing and shoving, maybe. Her just as much as me, but no.
Carl also insists that things weren't over between them.
We were just taking a break for a little bit.
That's not what her family says.
Well, maybe she didn't tell her family everything.
He also insisted that Tyquisha left the barbershop alive, and that was the last contact that he ever had with her.
Harris was there. He saw her leave.
We know.
He maintains that he has nothing to hide.
He also gives the detectives permission to search his car.
Since she was found several miles from the barbershop, the detectives suspected that Carl may have used his car to move Tyquisha's body.
The search fails to turn up any blood or other evidence, and following up with Carl's co-worker, Harris Finley, is equally fruitless.
He maintains that Tyquisha left the shop alive.
It's very frustrating for detectives.
Unable to make an arrest, the case grows cold.
If you don't have any other leads, then there's nowhere to go.
It is extremely, extremely frustrating, and everybody feels for the family.
It's very hard on families. A lot of times, they don't understand what is really happening.
You feel like it's never going to be solved.
The frustrations only get worse as weeks turn to months and months into years.
It's a very, very challenging time for the family. They're trying to do the best that they can, trying to raise her son, and just not having the answers.
However, the case is never officially closed.
You gotta have faith that somebody will find something and someone will be put to justice.
When homicide cases go cold, it can give people time to think. Witnesses, even suspects, lives change, their conscience gets the best of them, and guilt kicks in.
Or they can get caught in a jam and need a little leverage.
Homicide.
In 2019, 13 years after Tyquisha's murder, Long Beach detectives get a call from a neighboring precinct.
They'd arrested a man on other charges, and when they started questioning him, he said that he had information to give them.
The man they had in custody was Carl's friend, Harris Finley.
15 years since someone shot and killed Tyquisha Myers and dumped her body along a bike path in Long Beach, California. And investigators have never made an arrest.
As long as the suspect is out there running free, the case stays open.
But now, detectives may have finally caught a break when Harris Finley is arrested on an unrelated charge.
13 years earlier, Harris had provided an alibi for Tyquisha's husband, Carl Mays.
Out of the blue, Harris had started talking about Tyquisha's murder.
Harris be like, hey, well, if I tell you this, would it potentially reduce my charges?
When police hear what Harris has to say, they reach out to the Long Beach detectives, who are anxious to talk to Carl's old coworker.
When a witness comes forward after years of a case being cold, you take that statement.
Harris is booked on other charges while detectives drive over to interview him.
And this time, he has something very different to tell the detectives.
He said that Tyquisha never left the barber shop.
At least not alive.
Carl killed her.
Did you see him do it?
No, but I know he did it.
According to Harris, when Tyquisha stopped by the shop that day, she wasn't happy.
Where's my money, Carl?
I got it. Settle down, all right?
When Tyquisha enters the barbershop, they kind of start arguing a little bit.
He says Carl took Tyquisha into the back room of the barbershop to talk.
Did you happen to hear what they said?
Not really.
However, he says there was no mistaking what he heard next.
You're sure it was a gunshot?
Yeah.
Harris said that Carl came out of the back room a few minutes later.
What happened, man? It was an accident. I didn't mean to do it.
Carl said that he tried to put the gun to her head, kind of to scare her.
He had no intention to take the shot, yet the gun went off.
Should we call the police? No.
Carl said if anybody comes around asking any questions, you didn't hear anything, you didn't see anything, nothing happened.
Harris admits he'd done what Carl asked.
Why is that?
Because he had just killed someone.
We're talking about a witness that was in fear for his life.
But had that fear bought more than his silence?
You help him move the body?
Nah, man. I had nothing to do with any of that.
Detectives aren't sure if they believe him, but Harris's statement gives them the piece that they've been missing.
The witness statement matches the victim's injuries, matches how it could have happened. It matches the phone data. So everything is tied together.
But after 13 years of silence, can detectives believe him?
Oftentimes, suspects are just making things up, and clearly he has a motive to get out of whatever he was arrested for.
All those years, you could have gone to the police, you could have picked up the phone and made an anonymous tip, and you didn't. And the only time you decide to come up with this statement is when you're looking at potential incarceration.
Whether Harris is telling the truth or not, what to do with his new story isn't the detective's call.
You take that statement, and then as a detective, you give that information to the district attorney, and the DA is the one that has to convince the jury that what the witness is saying is true.
The prosecutors are open to cutting Harris a deal, but they're going to need something in return.
When somebody comes forward with this type of information, they're going to have to go the full length on ensuring that that information is used in the court case, which more than likely will be testifying.
Will his testimony alone be enough to ensure a conviction?
The defense attorney is going to try to discredit your witness.
If the reason he didn't speak 13 years before is because he was afraid for his life, then what changed?
A vulnerability to cross-examination isn't the only weakness in Harris's story either.
That type of information is not the smoking gun in this case. It could help, but it's witness testimony, which tends to be low on the totem pole in terms of evidence.
Luckily, detectives have one more piece of the puzzle.
Back in 2006, the detectives had recovered a blood-stained blanket from the barbershop.
At the time, DNA testing had been unable to determine if the blood was Tyquisha's.
The capabilities of DNA testing have progressed quite a bit over the years.
But will a second round of testing confirm what detectives long suspected?
They ran it, did the test, and they were able to say this blanket had her blood.
That DNA, it actually sealed the case.
After Tyquisha Myers' murder, police and prosecutors believe they finally have enough evidence to make an arrest.
DNA testing has determined that the blood on the blanket found in Carl's barbershop belongs to Tyquisha.
And it isn't the only thing detectives have to connect Tyquisha's husband, Carl Mays, to her murder.
Carl's co-worker, Harris Finley, said he heard a gunshot after Carl took Tyquisha into the back room of the barbershop.
The witness statement is actually the icing on the cake.
On September 13th, 2019, detectives finally take Carl Mays into custody. But when they get him into the interview room, he still denies having anything to do with Tyquisha's death.
I'm the one that reported her missing. Why would I do that if I killed her?
Harris said you did it.
He heard the gunshot.
The detectives tell him that his former coworker had changed his story.
He said that he's lying.
And the blood on the blanket? You said it was yours.
And we know that's a lie.
Now backed into a corner, detectives give Carl one more chance to come clean.
Come on, man. Do yourself a favor.
Somebody that's remorseful, or you get somebody that's confessed, that goes a long way.
But Carl is through talking.
No, I need my lawyer.
He asks for a lawyer, effectively ending the interview.
Even without a confession, detectives are able to book Carl on murder charges, and Tyquisha's family rejoices at the news.
It was a lot of crying and releasing of all of the emotion that has been building for those 13 years.
However, for the patrons of Carl's barbershop, the arrest comes as a shock.
When you're going to the barber shop and have a friendly face that you see all the time, you never picture that that person can take a life. And so it must be a scary thing for the community.
And when the case goes to trial, they're still wondering, is Carl a cold-blooded killer?
Once that person steps foot in the courtroom, all eyes are on them.
While Carl looks on from the defense table, the prosecutors lay out the case against him.
Prosecutors have to make sure that, they have enough evidence that the charges that they're presenting are going to stick.
They have the family's allegations of abuse, Tyquisha's phone records that last place her at the barbershop, and they have her blood on the blanket from Carl's storeroom.
They also have a star witness.
Harris Finley takes the stand and testifies that when Tyquisha came by the shop that day, Carl took her into the back room.
He recalls hearing a loud pop in the background and then Carl coming out.
But Tyquisha never came out.
Carl shot and killed her in that back room.
Harris doesn't know exactly why he did it, only that Carl and Tyquisha had been arguing over money.
However, the prosecution believes that money was only part of it.
I need my money, Carl.
If you wanted something from me, you should have stayed.
He could have been holding in some kind of anger or rage.
Until it suddenly and violently came boiling out.
Just give me my money, Carl.
Okay, I'll give you something.
That's when he shot her.
The DNA, the phone records, and Harris's testimony. According to the prosecutors, it all points to Carl as Tyquisha's killer.
Basically, they tied everything together in this neat little bow.
But when it's the defense's turn, Carl's attorney does his best to pull at any loose threads.
As the prosecutors predicted, the defense tried to discredit Harris Finley's testimony.
The defense in this case really focused on that.
May's attorney brought up how convenient it was for this guy who was facing charges for something unrelated to now bring up this murder 13 years later.
All the while, according to the defense, Tyquisha's real killer walked free.
What May's attorney was essentially trying to argue was that police dropped the ball again and again. They weren't diligent enough to go and find who actually did this.
When the case goes to the jury, they find Carl guilty of second-degree murder.
The reason you get second degree instead of first degree is because they just couldn't prove intent.
It might have been an intentional killing, but it might have been more in the heat of the moment.
The DA's office works off of the evidence that they can prove in court, and we're lucky they didn't get just manslaughter.
When it comes time for sentencing, the family argues in favor of the maximum sentence.
It's one thing for a crime to be a heat in the moment and you have immediate remorse, but it's another thing to not come forth and be honest about it. So there's a significant amount more of malicious intent.
And Tyquisha's mother had some harsh words for her daughter's killer.
Her mom pointed out that she wasn't gonna forgive him. He took her baby away from her, and that each year that he spends in jail, she hopes that haunts him.
But it's Tyquisha's own words that have the most impact.
Her sister took to the stand and read from the letter Tyquisha wrote to Carl prior to her death.
It was essentially describing in detail why she couldn't bear to continue the relationship with Mays and why she wanted this new life, this new start.
Carl appears unmoved by Tyquisha's words.
When the family was speaking, I don't think Carl really ever showed any remorse.
However, when the judge hands down his sentence, it appears that the family's passionate plea did have an impact.
He gives Carl the maximum sentence, 41 years to life.
Which means he'll be in his late 60s, early 70s, or even in his 80s before he comes up for parole. That's if he survives prison.
When the sentencing was handed down, it's finally over. It's been a long time coming, so there's a sense of relief.
The family also feels a sense of gratitude.
It's sad for the families to have to wait, but as long as that case is solved, then hopefully it gives the family some closure.
But even if Tyquisha finally has justice, her family still grieves her loss.
Her family and her friends have to live knowing that their loved one, their daughter, their sister, their friend, their mom, didn't get to be there with them, sharing the most precious moments of their lives.